some basic things that people are introduced. They think are much. They're not. It's not kind of, they want it to be instantaneous. They want it to be as good as they've ever had anything else. And the other, not able to charge that.
I suppose that's a basic, isn't it?
It's basic. So we've got some places now. You keep walking over people who are sitting in the corridor because they're sitting next to you think, but that's some basics.
Well, there's always a
That's the
positive.
basics that people.
There's always a positive.
And they won't charge the full price of it.
I suppose even you had some places like
None of our buildings, even our news buildings, wasn't designed with that thought in mind. How's Yvonne getting on in? Is it Johnston? Yes, especially when you've done a job for quite a period of yes, you've got some of the joys of managing people. Oh yes, and I'm good at it, doing it for so long and knowing everybody. Yes. We all benefit from doing something slightly different at times as well. And I think customer and the rules and regulations around it. That's a little bit alien to everybody else. Sometimes it's just the rest of us saying, why can't you do that? And you explaining quite clearly to us why it can't be done, and you think, great, got it. And you now know the parameters you've got to there's
we are waiting one more person. Diane, if we could make a start, we have to go agenda. My name's Alan. Thanks for coming along to the fourth meeting. It's just going back to the first meeting. Essentially, the digital participation group is here to look at the actual participation end of the digital strategy and developing. I think we're looking at detail earlier in the agenda. First thing I want to point out is that we're being Periscope today. I think it's Periscope ended up using this form.
Combination, I can talk you through it if you want.
In your presentation, we take and talk us through how we do videos and stuff like that. Anyway, it's just to say, in case anyone's anything uncomfortable. over that. We have had requests from members, right? We have had requests from members who can't attend to actually do this. We've tried it out and it seems to work quite well. People who sort of respond to it quite well. With that in mind, obviously, then we have a hashtag on the day for any other digital marks and methods, which is DigiDen. There's also a Twitter feed for DigiDen, which you can follow if you get a chance. If you want to please do. Well, I just put in, okay. Hello, how you doing? A couple of late comers, you know, typical third sector guys.
Is anyone sitting here?
Oh, yeah. I'm not yet. That's like okay. We're just displaying that we're using Periscope. We just like to be able to sort of the film meeting, so just give you a heads up to go to sort of live. And probably use DigiDen at this meeting and after this meeting digital marks for Renfrewshire. We had two presentations today, and I said on a short break, and then we're going to go to digital strategy in that session. So just very, very briefly, because I'm very aware that not everybody knows everybody else, just quickly around the table and just say who you are, where you're from, and maybe just something about why you're interested in being here in relation to digital, very quickly. And so I'm Alan, from Engage Renfrewshire. I'm interested in digital as a model for engagement, particularly around the issues related to poverty and other barriers that a lot of communities struggle with.
Hi, I'm Margaret Sports from the 2020 Ordnance team. I'm a UWS employee appointed to this project. I'm interested in digital for similar reasons, for the goods, mostly around engagement, participation, and barriers to access.
I'm also formerly a digital communication coordinator in the Polish Conflict Service. And we mostly work in adults with disabilities and experience and tested in digital.
University of Scotland, external engagement. I'm interested in digital for a range of reasons, mostly open access, student solidarity, flexibility, experience in the university.
And I'm down in the back and forward with you, and then I council and I'm interested in this for next Thursday, so I'll be using some of but you become involved. I'm very much involved in the Council of Business Association. I like to look at things digital age.
I'm here the same purpose applying for an online for charities to community, and I also sit on the participation, engagement and communication group of the HSCP.
I'm going to Millwall Education and Information work with REMH. I'm very keen to be part of this group because one of the things we do to reach a lot of vulnerable adults in mental health is encourage them to be using social media and accessing the internet. And as has been mentioned already, we want to look at barriers to people getting involved with digital inclusion and stuff. So it's exciting.
I'm Darren Gillen. I am youth manager for the YMCA. Interested in digital for young people. Develop it as a problem-solving tool, getting to be more enterprising and develop their own projects for the community.
Alan Murphy, social media publisher, and this is using digital for information or services and stuff.
Brian Dwyer, Phaser.org from UK, on the Phaser website. Love to be digital product. The written thing is really a lot of fun, and I think I had importance.
And I'm Diane Webb, I'm developing the digital strategy. I'm based here at Renfrewshire Council, but I'm keen that this strategy is something that we develop together, working across different partners, public, private, and third sector, because as we know, this isn't something that one organisation can solve itself, and reducing barriers, reducing difficult to work with, it's something hopefully we can all work on together.
And
Nicola Houston. I'm the project officer for the Tackling Commerce team at Venture Council, and I support Diana in this issue.
I'm Linda Muir, Venture Council, one of the project managers. I'm working on the customer portal project, which is all the digital self-service for customers, channel shift. We're really interested in how we can engage with all of our customers and make our services accessible to everybody.
Susan Bowles, emergency service for working in economic development team and funding development.
I'm Kate McDonald, Economic Development Officer. I work with Susan for a specific remit to help council departments and external organisations to maximise their funding opportunities.
I'm Lauren Gilmore. I am the Digital Volunteer Coordinator for Renfrewshire Council, but I'm based in Renfrewshire. And I think I'm here because the word digital is literally in the job title, so I think that's kind of self-explanatory today.
I'm Alan Dick, Economic Development Manager for West College, Scotland. Interested in digital participation and communication, but the day job is really about what are the digital skills that we should be providing to support the digital agenda and to ensure that everybody is accessible to it.
Andrea Dowd, I'm the Employer and Partnership Manager for Renfrewshire, part of EWQ. I'm really interested in being involved in this because, again, I'm really interested in how we can take our digital agenda forward for customers, especially if there's a sense of full role for university credit where all our customers are going to have to work for them.
I'm Katie Wolf from the Renfrewshire Citizens Advice Bureau, and I'm interested in director of digital inclusion. I work for our clients, particularly for benefits when people interacting with the health sector organisations.
I'm Graham Shaw, I'm also from Citizens Advice. I'm usually involved in all the digital media stuff. It's something we do with this.
Alright, me, I'm Paul Cameron. I'm Digital Participation Officer. So I've started and been involved with working with people with disabilities, essentially impairments, and also who are older.
Thanks for that, Chloe. I think this is really good. One thing I'll always say, share the details you could do that work. I got to go follow that anybody else with on the Facebook site, I want to share that and try to build up that plan quickly to get to one another. I'm involved in this good idea to this Renfrewshire law. You want to follow that out before and start the person quite quickly to gather up what goes on with that.
Well, that sounds silly. Just something for more here today, and you haven't indicated or we've not put the details on the list, so we wouldn't mind that if we know this or details, just so we can review and feature list and we can get the details shared with us.
Before we move on to the presentation, I think what was happening, I suppose, at the table there is that the various organisations represented both third sector and public sector, and I think most folks who know the field of education decide to respond to the client groups that are looking for issues related to your students at college. So the next two presentations are really interesting, and that's the purpose for these new roles that are happening in Renfrewshire. That's what came out of the idea of some tackling poverty, people and parts and digital agenda, and obviously the focus for these posts has been around the tackling poverty agenda, and they have to be a very important mission for Renfrewshire. And so that's the idea of the first minister talking about tackling poverty, this for Scotland. I think Renfrewshire have all been that would be sort of part of that development. So, move on then. Lauren's going to give the first presentation, and we're going to go on to swiftly Paul. So, we'll go on and introduce yourself.
Just bear with me, I've got some tricky things to say. Can everyone see? I'll take the silence as I know that everyone can see. as I said, I'm Lauren Gilmore and I am the Digital Volunteer Coordinator for Renfrewshire Council. I'm actually based out in Engage Renfrewshire, which is actually a really good place to be in terms of what I'm doing. So basically I started in April this year, and one of my aims, I suppose, is to recruit an army of volunteers to deliver digital projects, digital assistance projects, and I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what my actual role is, and a quick tech demonstration as well, which tells me surprise. So you'll probably know it's not just about using computers, which I'm not naturally good with computers, but it's just about empowering people to have to gain those digital skills that they need to live life in the 21st century now. It's quite ironic that most people who are digitally excluded in Renfrewshire are the ones who would benefit most from being online, when you see things like price comparison websites, to get cheaper electricity and gas rates, internet, cheaper holidays, cheaper shopping, everything. As I said, it's ironic that the people who would benefit most from that are missing out. So I suppose our roles are all about how we transform that and make sure that people who are currently missing out aren't missing out anymore. So the first major piece of work that I undertook was the digital skills survey, which I sent out to quite a number of third sector organisations that are also members of Engage, which is why Engage helped quite a lot. Sadly, we only got relatively good turnout of about 78 responses, which was low, but it actually wasn't that low in terms of average return rates. But the kind of responses we got back were quite interesting. Set down the results here, and you can take a picture of it if it's really easier to sit and write it all down, or I can send you it at the end of the meeting. So we found that 82% of organisations based on 28 returns from voluntary organisations work with people who have got a lack of basic ICT skills. Now that can be anything from a lack of skills in Microsoft Office, or a lack of computer skills where they just don't know how to turn a computer on. 60% of these organisations thought that they would benefit from a digital volunteer service, and 54%, which is quite an interesting figure, of voluntary organisations' staff have some gaps in their ICT knowledge, and they feel that the training that they would most benefit from is social media, digital media, and improving their existing skills, and they see that as a key area of development. So the kind of gaps that are existing within service users within Renfrewshire are your advanced skills, so that's things like coding or website development, things that you can learn to do rather than basic stuff. Safety knowledge, how to keep yourself safe on the internet from scammers, identity thefts, and groomers and things like that. A kind of fear of being online in case some of the things that I've just mentioned actually happen. And one of the kind of most blatant ones, a lack of access, so people just don't have any access to basic IT facilities where they're not got any money to actually go access them, or they live too far away from their local library, and that means that they can't afford the bus fare to go to the library. 5 organisations identified that people lacking basic skills was what was holding most people back, and the biggest one was how to use digital services, so things like email, online shopping, and digital public services such as universal job match, and how to pay the council tax and stuff like that online. So it's given us quite a basis to what we work towards in terms of setting up a volunteer service to actually help address those skills gaps. So the most exciting thing I think I've been working on is coding clubs. So this is a picture hot off the press from last night's first ever Clothing Club in Renfrewshire, which a few of us actually attended, as you can see down here. So, as I said, the first one got up and running last night at Hazel YMCA, and I just think that we should just kind of give kudos to Darren for all the absolutely amazing work, not just on Clothing Clubs, but in the whole digital agenda. He's been doing so much, and it's just amazing to hear everything that he's been doing. He's always doing something new, and Darren got that up and running. You can see there that the kids just look really, really interested in all the kids that you were speaking to. They were like, yeah, this is really good. And they were like, what? Well, they were asking about what would you change, what would you like to do the next time? We're like, I don't really know, there's nothing that I would change. I don't know if they were saying that because we were just being polite or if there is genuinely nothing that could change. So this is not going to be the only Clothing Club. We've got one ready to go at UWS, thanks to Big Bang, from the 25th of August. And the plan is that we're going to be specifically targeting people from inside 20 areas, because these are the kids from the key demographic that we want to get in. We want to kind of see there's something beyond the kind of traditional looks that they're often shepherded into. So it's kind of giving them that idea that I can do this. Yes, and also we're hopefully going to be working with schools to empower senior school students to set up and run their own clothing clubs in schools at lunchtime, because lots of senior school pupils are quite interested in doing volunteering within their school, and it's quite a big thing. All the schools are doing it, so is there a way that we could carry in clothing clubs with that? So why clothing clubs, what are they? Well, basically it's just anywhere that's got Wi-Fi access, plug points, and it's accessible for children. So the YMCA place is actually a really ideal location because it's accessible, it's in a central location, it's also got fast Wi-Fi. We basically teach children how to write code. So that's making video games, making websites, and using things like Microbit and Raspberry Pi to create things and to inspire a generation of problem solvers. So it went really well last night, and I believe that it's just going to keep getting bigger and better. Coding was identified as one of the biggest skills gaps in terms of being in school and going into jobs that require that level of knowledge. So organisations like Skyscanner, which is a massive multinational organisation, where we actually started in Scotland, and that's one of the kind of biggest things they point out, that young people are able to come to us, they don't quite have the knowledge that we would have. So this is kind of picking up the huge slack, I suppose, in terms of what's not taught in schools. So clothing clubs are going to get bigger and better, and my job is supposed to recruit volunteers to run them and teach children how to code. So the first bit learning is the last. Another thing that actually takes up quite a lot of time as well is using social media to promote digital volunteering, because it can directly targets the group we want to get involved. So we've got a Facebook, a Twitter, an Instagram, and a Pinterest. So if you like social media, please follow us. So that's been really good in terms of actually promoting the service, and we're even getting interest from as far away as Canada. So it's obviously doing its job, and I had to break the news to him that they couldn't volunteer because he doesn't live here, and the travel expenses don't quite cover flights from Canada. So other things that we're involved in, helping to set up a digital volunteer scheme for business within the business and food improvement district. I've been working with the SCU's on digital team to get a digital meetup arranged in Renfrewshire on the 15th of September. So if that's something that you want to be involved in, come and see me at the end of the meeting. And we're also looking at applying for the Bigger funding in with an aim to sustaining the coding clubs a lot further. So if anyone's got any questions, please feel free to ask me. But I'd really like to go on to the tech demonstration, so the more questions you ask me, the less time we get to do the tech demonstration.
Yeah, what's coding?
Right, okay.
Can I say that's a really interesting question?
That is a really interesting
I
question.
don't know
Because
what it is. I mean,
It's an acceptance of people doing it.
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what that's the tech demonstration. If you get what I mean.
so that's the next part?
Yes, that's the next
Yeah,
part.
fine.
But I will show you what code looks like.
There's very interesting content there.
So if I bring up Facebook, for example, and I right click on so this here looks a bit
Oh, actually,
yes, that's
yeah, I know what that means. But it's not in relation to that.
So, that is basically kind of what we're going to be able to teach kids, I suppose. But starting off with the basics, which I'm about to show you now. So please bear with me.
And I always think of it as a bit like when we're learning French in school, all the time. And learning a different language, I think of coding is just learning a language in order to speak or tell the computer what to do, and it's simplest.
It was in the context of this specific example.
I think we are, if I would touch in that, because it must be open to that. I think it's only dolphins can do so. I see it, I kind of panic and I go, oh.
So what I'm about to show you is a program called Sonic Pi, which was created by a guy called Sam Harry, and I think you can follow him on Twitter if you're really interested in this kind of thing. And this was created by the University of Cambridge Computer Library with support from Raspberry Pi. Usually you need an actual Raspberry Pi to actually do this, but I managed to find a way around it as well. So this was something that the kids at the cooking club last night were doing. Basically it's quite simple when you actually follow the tutorial. It doesn't just throw coding at you and do this. It actually gives you a step-by-step tutorial, so I can learn through that. So welcome to Sonic Pi, blah 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 blah. To explain what this does, so if you write code into this area here, it will play music. So I'll just show you that. Other speakers. Let's come up with a volume thing. Sorry, next time.
Right. What do you want? Alright. Most of this way, this way. Where's the house?
Is a part, but I'm going to look at the arm and see how that is.
Yeah, it means I just change this so we can, and change. It's more volume. So just to give you a better example of what it is that we can actually
I think it's awesome that she's in live coding. It looks like a really exciting.
Sounds great. Sounds like a base plan.
And I had to go at it last night actually, the tutorial was really handy, just what through it, and it just showed me change the values so you can understand when I do this, I get this. The steps you do it, so I have to write the whole thing straight.
You see when we're getting this set up, I mean, for therapy myself, the advantages of this, the advantages of using something like this is it's basically into using coding to develop, to understanding how these things are, how websites are constructed or anything else is constructed. Is that correct? And the reason for doing that young people is because we believe wholeheartedly this is a methodology that we're going to be using in the world of work at some point.
It sounds like New Order, doesn't it?
That song?
Yes, I do know what New Order is. So we can then put this on.
Okay, you answered it, right? I don't think we really have the answer.
It sounds awful, right? But you get the idea. It sounds like you're at a Tiesto concert or something.
Okay.
I think last week was a mark did this, we did the live algorithm. People just coded and did the music on
So like earlier when I was like trying this out for the demonstration, I actually managed to put together Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but I can't find it. So like I mean I did save it, I did, but
Well, I'm sorry. We've done well.
do you believe me?
I would like Lauren to video herself later on tonight doing that and then use it.
Right,
We'll
okay.
watch it.
Right,
Who wants to do it?
It must be on the other one. It's on the other one.
Again, can't. So, is this like, is it an evaluation part? Feel something that's good, people,
Yes, for us it's going to be interesting because because of YMCA, when we were figuring out what we were going to do with Frontline in Renfrewshire, we decided we're not going to be doing sports because we get street stuff and we get street league and established sports programs are looking for us to duplicate. And then there's Brick Lane, there's Paisley, there's Blinding Clouds, another point us doing music. However, in terms of doing digital development and a niche within that, we looked at things like the Making UK and some various other coding 1 to 5 programs, and that's essentially what it is. So what we're looking to do is that we're working with a bunch of young people now who do not consider themselves to be musically minded. They can't play guitar or drum, and we're doing, we're going to put towards putting a coding band together there isn't one in Redfordshire and there's something new. For them to do live performances as part of the 2021 stuff. So part of it's good because it's about getting. I'm part of a UK-wide programme for Paisley now. It's called the Big Music Project, and we're the only ones in the UK right now that are going to come to this project, particularly in Scotland, to do live coding performances and do all the music-based stuff around coding, because nobody else is doing it. So we figured that we would be the ones that will try it out. It might be an absolute car crash, but that's the whole point. We find out how it all goes.
There's a practicality.
Oh yeah, there's a
Can I just I do have Twinkle Twinkle if anyone is really desperate.
We're right now, we know how it goes.
If anybody is musically minded, you can use it just in a traditional way, and you can write out your traditional notes, so etc. So when you do actually do it in the traditional way, it does actually. It does actually work.
While you're doing that technical thing, the HTML that I've been involved in has been the likes of eBay, where you're converting files for photos and stuff. Is any of the coding stuff you do? I mean, I'm a musician as well, I'm a drummer, but is any of the coding stuff you do around using it for photos and stuff? Is that something, or is it mainly just for music?
I haven't done it. I've done it for music and live performance stuff, because the practical application that you're asking about, sorry, run that. Basically, so see like that. Is that it?
This better be your big finish by
drumming and stuff like that, or they might have motion issues where they can't plug the guitar and things like that. So they've got to just have to put out lyrics and stuff like that. So the practical application for them is that they can still create music and expression on the fly, just as the way you would do it. You decide to change tempo and beat and everything else. It would be a way for them to extend that way of creating music for themselves, but in just a totally different attitude and way of doing it. Because when I have spoken to people about it, it's, I'm from that area of traditional music and a musician myself, so sampling music theory and all that kind of thing. This is another extension of that. I've already got people already for recording and numbers and maths, but when you break it all down, it is mathematics, and it's about chords and tables and everything else. So that's the practical one that we
many of them do it really well.
I was just to say that when we come out from a completely different angle, and that the projections that in the next 15, 20 years are going to be a huge horrible gap, and people who have the ability to code. And one of the reasons for that is we'll know the same agenda as a way sort of gender bias and what have you, so there's that aspect of it. There's the widening access agenda where when we're taking cognizance of the fact that we're at 2 years of age, the gender gap, the gap is starting to open up in terms of widening access, in terms of the electricity budget. But the other thing is, the university in particular, the lecturers in IT are very aware of the fact that our computing department is dreadful, often.
And even kids who are really IT minded and really want to struggle with it. So that's what they're trying to do is get the coding things all started up. So you play fun it is, you can play Twinkle Little Star, you have these software how to compete, and then you can come to uni and do all these things. So they're trying to get them over the hump and how to compete, which is what getting going, but that doesn't change overnight. But the practical projection is the jobs that are there.
I think it's just hard for us as non-practitioners within the field individual to see what value in coding is, but we need to be convinced of that, because that's what the industry sells, the industry
It's not even just
the evidence is there for that.
and it's not even just that it's not even just people who want into IT. For example, digital marketing, which is all about websites and the sort of online platform. And apparently, you can know the basics of marketing at that way, but if you can do a wee bit of coding, just a wee bit of coding, your efficacy and the effectiveness as a digital marketer, particularly in the website thing, is really nice.
I think
the correlation between research and research.
Understanding
the concept.
We had a knowledge transfer partnership with Org International, and that's where a university student goes and works as an employee of the company, an employee of the UNG, and the person who did that is now a lecturer at the uni. She came back and she's now lecturing, but she had from Kyra at the uni teaching it, because although she knew all about the marketing aspects and she knew exactly what this website, which was created for Org International, had to do, she kept having to go and ask. So she taught herself coding, and suddenly the effectiveness of what she was doing day to day became so much more, had so much more impact. So now the digital marketing, the business students are being encouraged to learn a wee bit of coding. Other disciplines are having to learn a wee bit of coding. You don't need to be experts, but if they've got even a basic understanding of what coding, instead of being dolphin at me every time you see it, if they've just got that wee bit of understanding, it can really help. So one of the reasons why the coding course are so important for us is not just the working access and sort of addressing that issue of it, but to get them started early with that awareness that IT, coding, that kind of thing can benefit in the future.
I concur with all that, and all the stats. It's incredible around the skills gaps that we have around the whole digital thing. But I think even before about thinking about a job to do, it's a basic digital literacy, and the key thing when on coding and what coding brings at that age is the problem solving element to it, and really to go into any career in the future, essentially you're a problem solver of one description or another. And if we instill through sort of the coding clubs at a very early age that the kids are solving the problems to how to get that music to sound better, longer, change the beats, they are solving the problems themselves, and that's the key skill to take forward.
Thanks, Sam. Good bunch of things. Why thank Lord for even with the technical problems they had there.
I told you it was going to be all singing, all dancing, Alan.
Thanks for all the meetings you go to, you'll all remember this one.
Paul.
I feel under pressure now. Okay. Yes, even more under pressure. So I'm Paul Cameron. I'm the new digital participation officer. I started off in May, and I work with normally two groups of people who have physical disability or sensory impairment, or people who are elderly. Those two groups are two groups of people who are statistically more digitally excluded than or under-included than many others. So I'm based in two places. One is the Disability Resource Centre. I don't know if anyone, if you all are familiar with it. So it's Winchester's Disability Resource Centre, and it's a place for people that have physical disabilities, not sensory impairment, to go along. And it's a great, really lively place. They do a lot of different kind of arts and gardening, and they have a wee computing room which I'll come to later, and they do sailing, and so it's a really active and quite energising space. And the other place that I am based on Thursday and Friday, I'm based down in Roar, and Roar is a charity for social enterprise for aiming at kind of people who are over 65, older adults in Renfrewshire. They run lots of different kind of clubs. They're very much focused on the idea of keeping people active. So for example, they do a really nice, this thing down here is they used to run kind of lunch clubs, but now what they do is rather than running a lunch club, a group of pensioners will come in and they'll have a recipe, they'll cook that meal together, and then they'll eat that meal together. So it's, so really encourage them to be kind of really, really active all the time, as active as they can be. So this has been a really kind of, being based in these two places has been a really grounding experience for me, because up until I kind of worked in here, I worked very much in it's almost like an ivory tower. It's kind of like a design ivory tower where the websites I saw looked really nice. Any design stuff that I worked on was really nice. I only ever looked at nice kind of websites. And one of the horrific things that I discovered when I started working in, I ran a computer workshop in DRC, and people were kind of logging onto the internet. Something that occurs to me, the internet is really, really horrible. It's really difficult for people because there's lots of things to trip them up, there's lots of things to click on, and if you have limited kind of ability to be able to move or to see, then you really can get caught out really easily. It's a horrible, very difficult cowboy and Indian kind of place. So these are some of the questions that I've been asked since in my posts by various different people. Well, for example, why can't I log on to the Wi-Fi in here? So DRC has free Wi-Fi, but a lot of the users can't log on to it because, ironically, when they turn on their accessibility features on their phones, it makes it nigh on impossible for them to be able to log on to the Wi-Fi in there. So a lot of them are still using their own data plan, even though they have Wi-Fi. My son and daughter bought me this tablet phone for my birthday because there's a lot of just as parents are probably sticking kids in front of computers to babysit them, children are now giving their parents tablets to do effectively the same thing. But, so quite often I'll get people turn up and say, my son or daughter gave me this to keep in contact with them, and it's effectively they might have just given them a tray. They don't really know how it works. How do I get my photos off this? How do I get free books, magazines on this? The phone companies say I need to buy more data. Why? I bought data last month. It hasn't run out, and they're asking me to buy more data this month. But I bought my data. Why do I need to buy more data? So these sort of things. How can I make cards again? There's a really nice lady in DRC who unfortunately has had a stroke, but she used to make cards, and she used to type them in, and she wants to continue making cards, but she can't type anymore. So we have to find a solution for her in order just to be able to allow her to use a computer to continue to make cards again. How do I get on the internet? That comes up again. What is the internet? So I've had a 90-year-old man who come in with his tablet, and the second question he asked me is, what is the internet? And when you're thinking about talking about kind of digital access, these are some of the people that literally have no idea what the internet is. They've never had any reason to kind of contact it or get involved with it. And the other question is someone says, does this mean that you can work everything? Because when I explained my title, and to which I said no, but I do have Google. So it's been a great kind of grounding experience for me to kind of, on a very, very practical level, to understand some of the challenges that people have just using the internet and using digital. Because as much as I like, I do like coding and I like using kind of fancy new apps and things, the reality is that some people don't know what the internet is. Some people don't know what their tablet does, and some people don't know what data is. So there's kind of massive kind of things to jump over there. So anyway, so some of the things that I've been doing is kind of lots of kind of one-to-one sessions. So this is Eddie, who had been given a tablet by his son to babysit him effectively. He didn't know how to use it. So his son had shown him how to send and collect emails, but he hadn't really shown him anything else that his tablet could do. So one of the things that I did in kind of a one-to-one session, this is him discovering the photo booth on his iPad. But the other thing he got to do is say, oh, where did your son live? His son lived in Australia, so he can get onto Google Maps. And I can get down onto Google Maps and we can get into the street that he's in. How can you say that's my son's house? I know that he has a swimming pool. And it's he was amazed at the fact that he could kind of see the entire world through this thing. So it was a great discovery for him. And he was also the guy saying, I bought data last month, why do I need to buy more data now? So it's kind of these big kind of. So I do quite a lot of one-to-one sessions where people will come in with a thing and say, how do I do this, how do I do that? And that's great, it's a great kind of learning experience from my point of view, to find out the real problems that people have. I was given a men's group to effectively experiment on. So I just try various different things with them because they're quite responsive to it. So, for example, they had a shot at kind of 3D printing. They had a shot at kind of VR. So this guy, Ian, he can't really walk, but through VR, he may not look like it, but he's currently experiencing swimming underwater. So doing scuba diving because it's a kind of 360 kind of virtual reality film that he's watching there. And you can see he's excited by this because he doesn't really walk very much anymore, so it allows him to get out. The other thing that we did is augmented musical instruments, which we'll hopefully try at the end, which is just it was a new kind of app which had been designed by a kind of Japanese designer. It had only been out about 5 days, and I found it, that looks really good. And so we were doing this kind of augmented musical instrument thing, and I asked, does anyone here play the guitar? And John said yes. That's the man there. So said, yeah, I learned about 5 years ago when I was 85. I've been starting it. So he could turn his walking stick into a guitar that he could then play using kind of augmented musical instruments. The other kind of thing that we're quite involved with both DRC and RAW is to get them to kind of improve their digital footprints. RAW's got quite a nice website. They recently had it redesigned, but it had a very old version of WordPress on it, so it had to be updated. They kind of stopped using kind of social media, so to get them. But as an organisation, they generate lots of stories, so they're really good for kind of social media, and a lot of people like them. So it's to get them used to the idea of kind of looking for stories and gathering content and getting them to kind of share that stuff. And they do that a lot more now. So they use social media in a much more kind of active way. And now they kind of think about it. If they've got an event or something on, then they'll gather stuff and they'll promote it. And they started using their websites. A lot of organisations have websites which they had built, but then quite often they would fall by the wayside. So this encourages them to use their website as kind of an active tool to promote themselves. Likewise with the Disability Resource Centre. Disability Resource Centre dropped off the Renfrewshire Council website completely, so it didn't exist on there anymore. So we got together a kind of user group and they wrote some text, and so they allowed them to kind of develop their own text, so they got to write their own text, they got to find photographs, and they got to put in kind of links onto the council website, which is good because previously, had you searched for the Disability Resource Centre, the first article that you got was a thing from the Daily Mail saying how they'd been broken into, which isn't necessarily a good advert. And likewise, they've fallen off Google, so managed to get them back on Google and put some kind of photographs. So now that when you search for them, you see a nice picture of the Disability Resource Centre with flowers outside, and you also see some kind of photographs within the Disability Resource Centre, and Google now links directly to that page, whereas before it linked to nothing. So that's kind of working with a user group to try and engage digitally with the world and be excited about the fact that they can actually control this thing. I think that's one of the things that they're suggesting that code is very and digital can be very kind of alienating to people. So if you can give people ways that they can actually see an advantage to it, or they can see a way that they can actually improve their own lives, I think that's a really powerful thing. So making connections. So I've gone out to see Ross at some point. So this is to see there's some really great kind of projects and such like in the area that work with people with physical disabilities, sensory impairments, and also the elderly. So Centre for Alternative Technology. So this guy up there called George Smith, who He's a fascinating man, ex-engineer, and he does a lot of makes a lot of adaptive technology to allow people that have got physical disabilities to use computers and access again. He's fascinating, partly because he said that the reason I got into this is I myself had a brain tumour 20 years ago, so he was almost completely paralysed, he was, and then he got movement back, and so that's one of the reasons why he's really kind of keen on the idea of allowing people to get back into kind of using technology. That's been a good connection to make because a lot of DRC people had gone up to that centre before, and that connection had fallen away. So I was able to bring George back into DRC, and hopefully they'll be going up to use those resources again. So that's a new connection. Renfrewshire Access Centre is just really lovely people. I went up to see them, see what resources they have, and they have very supportive in terms of kind of helping people to use technology. But another thing, the DRC have quite an active video group who go out and they video things about kind of issues with access, and they'll make films and load them up onto YouTube, and they'll attempt to shame the council or whoever to try and make changes about it. But the resources that they have within DRC are very, very poor, but they have quite good facilities up at the Renfrewshire Access panel, sorry, not centre, I got that wrong. So hopefully they'll be going up there to use their facilities to kind of edit films. Popping into the libraries, because the libraries always do an enormous amount. I'm a big fan in terms of digital. And also popped up to see Ross at Quarriers, and I can hopefully, he's very kindly, hopefully going to give you some of his tablet training resource material. You heard it here, and you said yes. So researching kit. So one of the things that within DRC, they have a computer room, which is a really lovely room. It's really accessible. They've got great accessible toilets. They have a selection of computers which are archaic, which have been donated by various well-intentioned individuals over the years. They have a variety of different operating systems, a whole gamut of different keyboards, and a huge number of different types of mice. Lots of interesting, do not use this slot, do not turn on, do not unplug, this kind of labels all over it. So it's, in terms of kind of a computer room for the Disability Resource Centre, it is nigh on close to useless. So, so one of the things we're trying to look at is how to, because they have a very active, they have an active community, and they're very keen, a lot of people want to use digital stuff. They're very keen on using tablets. They're very keen to get involved in kind of the internet, but quite often this technology really does stop them. So kind of researching how to try and make this thing work would be good. I'm not entirely, did I get the name of that right? I know it's kind of chopped and changed. Will that do? So the other job I've got is to pull together a kind of frontline digital group. And the idea of the frontline digital group is for people who are very much on the front line, kind of dealing with other people to help them access the world digitally. So this is an image from the first meeting that we had, where as an icebreaker, everyone was given 5 minutes to draw a self-portrait of themselves. And then to say what the title of their job was, where they worked, and something that they'd won a prize for. So this is the collection of people that came along. So it's quite well attended. We've had two now. So this is the second one. So, and the idea of that is to share best practice, find ways of kind of promoting digital, to share knowledge and experience amongst each other, share skills, increase digital skills for staff. So I think that, again, that's an area which we're kind of aware that a lot of, it's all right, there's a lot banging on about digital, but it may be that the person in your organisation doesn't know how to do a post up to Facebook, or doesn't know how to organise a data sheet. Hopefully spotting any duplication to squash it. Although having said that, I think some stat came out and said there are 26,000 people who are digitally excluded or under-included within Renfrewshire. So if there is any duplication, there are quite a lot of people to go around in terms of kind of wanting to be able to kind of encourage people to go. And also to look at the digital directory. There's an existing digital directory of digital opportunities, which is a nice book, but it's quite dated, and it's on paper, and it's kind of gone out of date. Hopefully that will fix that. We also have, this is a DigiRen social media feed, so there's a Twitter feed, which I hope you can follow, and it's a mixture of, the idea is, quite a lot of the idea is just to get this idea of digital Renfrewshire as a thing, that there is digital activity within Renfrewshire, and also to try and encourage people to try and come to it. So it's a way of just kind of gathering up people to some extent and see who's active and see who's doing things within Renfrewshire. And post up a mixture of actual digital activities that's happening in the area. So for example, the recent Coda Joe that happened at Darren's place. There's pictures of that, but there's also things like, lots of interest where a whole bunch of things, as well as kind of activity locally. So there's the Twitter, and there's also a Facebook page. So there's some pictures here that you can see from the Coda Dojo last night. So actually, if I can try and get online here, this may or may not work. We'll see. Just be exciting. There we go. So this is the Facebook page. Oh, that's a Twitter one. Have you got rid of the Facebook one?
You are unheaded. Surely.
I may have to go with that. Right. That's a little bit risky to go with this Facebook page. Right. See that kind of in a self-referential kind of loop there. You can see on Twitter. You can see that we're on Twitter. So that's kind of running from here, but also it's also running on the Facebook page as well. So yes, if you're on, so So the Facebook page hasn't got a huge number of followers at the moment, but it's quite useful for marking things with stream, whereas Facebook, because it's a bit kind of calmer, you can kind of so the feeding of this thing is split between myself, Lauren, Diane, and also Mary from DRC. But if you have anything that you think is quite, should be posted up there, and I do kind of keep kind of an eye on things, but if you tag something DigiRen, then you can search for that and kind of post it up and think it's relevant. And so onward. So the next kind of section of kind of what I'm doing is, one is to set up, which is partly fed by the kind of activity that I've done within kind of RAW and within DRC, is there probably a need for some kind of almost like a digital community IT support. Quite often people have tablets or they have computers and they fail for very simple reasons, which can be fixed relatively easily by someone who knows, it is about problem solving. But if you're 90 and you've just been given this thing, then you may not know what that relatively simple thing is, but that not doing that simple thing will stop your access to something. So we're going to try setting up a number of kind of sort of community-based IT support sessions where people can bring in things and we'll try and do basic kind of IT fixing. Setting up kind of basic tablet classes out in the community. Again, this is something that a lot of people have been given tablets, or they see that as a route that they can get online, but they just need kind of basic kind of some basic kind of tuition. I think it's something that Ross does a lot of as well already within Emporium. So to break it down into kind of basic skills and stuff for people with iPads and stuff with Android. We also thought within RAW, It'd be quite nice to do sessions on stuff to impress the grandkids. There's things you can do with tablets which are quite flashy that people might quite like. And trying to set up some kind of digital, Paisley digital meetup, which is more of a kind of a public thing. So there are quite nice meetups that happen up in Glasgow, for example, where people will just come along and do kind of like short 15-minute kind of talks or lectures about kind of things, digital things that they are interested in. And they're just a nice way of getting people coming together in a very real sense, in real spaces and sharing knowledge, and also getting a bit excited about this, because there's lots of exciting things to do with digital. And that's me, I think. Oh, I was going to do a demo. Any questions?
Can we ask you, sorry, could we have a demo at the end, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I can do it.
What you think that we could do that, and do you want to hang back a little bit to get the demo, or take it away and do something to do a bit of the strategy? Is that okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, fine.
Very much so. Let's leave that set up. Is there any questions before we go on?
Yeah, just I appreciate your focus on some particular target groups, but it's really cool and lots of things that I've seen in those presentations, but you sometimes find people just want to go screaming and doing things like check their fuel and find out if they're getting the best price, or how do you shop online and things like that.
Yes, and shopping would be one of the things you want to be able to cover. Yeah, it depends very much. Everyone has kind of different.
I know everybody wants different things from it,
Yeah.
but it's just wondering what the kind of demand for that
Yeah.
sort of thing is.
Sorry, can you have to sound of the question? I didn't quite catch it.
So there was a question: was there ever a requirement from people to do quite mundane things like shopping or check their fuel bills? And the answer is yes, there is. Yeah. So. Yes, it's not all kind of.
Yeah, because sometimes if you do, you get carried away with all the great things you can do.
Yeah.
Before you think of something.
Yeah. I think the part of the approach is that sometimes if you
Interesting.
try and make them interesting, and then if you sucker them in on the interesting stuff, then you can get them on the dull stuff later on. Is the plan or part of the plan? But some people do just want to check their bank balance. But having said that, some people will come in, for example, a gentleman came in who checks his bank balance on his phone, and he had absolutely no password on his phone, and he had the website to his phone of his bank balance as the first thing that you saw when you opened it up. So you kind of have to go, to be honest, that's probably not a good thing. So you can kind of take him through that.
It's an interesting point, something to sell.
I used to do.
For his efforts and the work. But what's running through my head was really about we teach, but I think the reality of our describing the coach and mentor people in the use of the IT and digital media, because that gentleman, when you talk about his bank balance, he's got enough skill to get to that. It's actually fulfilling a function for him.
Yeah.
But scaring the living daylights out of you as the potential consequences, which he's unaware of at that point. And I go back in the day, and some people may remember the project Digital Buddies, which was a digital volunteering program. A lot of the recipients were looking for reassurance that the level of skill that they had was sufficient for them to do what they wanted to do. So it wasn't so much giving them new skills, it's about reassuring them that they've got the skills that satisfy their needs. And I think potentially we've got the same issue with a lot of people. It's about how do we coach them to use the skills that they've got better, and mentor them that this is the right thing.
Management of as well. A lot of the things that I've heard this afternoon would apply to workplaces as well. Who are in exactly the same boat. And I think it was probably another angle of this, because even within my workplace, if I've got a couple of people in the background, people think that's it.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What's that one for? And so there's a huge culture shift required in workplaces as well, not just because we're promoting
trying to reduce digital exposure, you need to get it right in our own organisations first. Can't even get a lot of things on the NHS for some blocks.
Like, I think I totally echo what you're saying, because when I first started my role, when Diane took us round like key people in the council and they said, well, I'm the digital volunteer coordinator, or Paul said I'm the digital participation officer, people were like, oh, digital, well, I don't do that. And it's like, well, we need to get around that and make sure and start actually encouraging people to be able to access kind of training and sessions and things like that, and actually stop that reaction. Yeah.
Sometimes something I'm now speaking about a lot of those physical contributions that they've got access for, not just public sector, but access for employees to use digital in a way that is actually beneficial to the company. In fact, in Glasgow, the public sector buildings, you've got the Wi-Fi and include colleges and universities in that. It's quite impossible sometimes just to actually use it as part of the coding trade, other than they're lucky in the third sector, people that are going from the third sector, it's absolutely encouraged, it's part of the realities of life as we use, it's a cheap platform, it's a way of communicating in mass. The public sector are really lagging in that, I think they'd admit that themselves, you know, most bodies, they really find a way around it.
Surely it's going to, our principle, when we came on board 2 years ago, went into, because if you know, the university was built in, they built it front, they built in the 60s, so it's all the ones behind it are all concrete, these blocks, the further you get into the room, you can get a signal on your phone and then get online around it. It's embarrassing. We've got a guy in from Strathclyde to show something that we did 5 or 6 years ago, and he went to do a demo and he put the firewall and the access just leaving it on. It was embarrassing. It cost a lot of money. It cost a lot of money to limit that. So now when you come on campus, there's different things you can do and it's much easier. But it's not cheap. It isn't cheap.
Can I just quickly say, in the past I've been involved in the whole looking at it in terms of digital safety and online safety, and I think we've moved on from that, from what we've talked about today in terms of skilling people up, increasing confidence and understanding. So sort of moving away with the whole digital safety agenda, and I think that's a positive thing. But that's another debate away from staff accessing, and it's more to do with the sector I work in. That's like maybe parents or adults with mental health issues, and giving them coaching and assistance to build their skills up and their understanding.
Really constable thing, and it's paid my money, mental, but you might pay minutes, right?
Mega's live.
I'd like to thank Paul for really and Diane, we've only got a lot of time. I think he's desperate for coffee. 5 minutes for coffee and stuff like that. Okay.
I don't understand it. I think I can understand it. The augmented reality thing on your phone, I get that. Ask themselves the question. How do we develop?